What is going on? And happy Wednesday, September 6th. Welcome on in, and kind of boring. We're going to get into that here in a few minutes, but markets are boring. We got a new setup. I'm not sure if you can tell, but the camera angle is different. I have finally, after many, many months of saying I've wanted to do this, I have finally been able to figure out how to get my kind of old DSLR camera to live stream or to frame and set up the shots for the live stream instead of my shitty, well, not shitty, the Mac webcam. But we're back. We're back in town. We're back and ready to go. Today was actually a terrible day for trading for me. But that said, it kind of could see it coming with the movements. You had pretty big movements early, and then you pretty much just, I don't know, after that. Apple's still weak. Apple just hit a new low of the day, actually. So it's kind of weird. Like, some stocks are pretty weak. Some stocks are strong. Tesla was super weak early, bounced back. So it's like, it's here are the 1 hour charts. Let's pull up the 1 hour charts. Tesla was weak off the open, bouncing back as of now. Apple, kind of weird. Apple has just been drilling all day. Just weak. After looking pretty, it was holding up pretty well up until this morning. Literally, it just got destroyed today. I hope you guys are doing well. If there's any problems with the camera setup and stuff, if it doesn't work or if things all of a sudden unravel, then I can easily change it back. I have the settings all easily switchable in OBS. But I think I'm going to try to do it this way if I can, because I like this camera better. It has a better picture, and I think it all looks good. But if not, we'll see. We can always change it. We can always fix it, hopefully. But I got this new battery pack, so it's like plugged into the wall so it doesn't die and all that stuff. So we're looking good. As of now, I do not need a thumbnail designer or editor as of right now. But maybe in the future, I don't know. Not something that I need right now or am interested in paying for. Something if I had run the channel more as a business, as I was selling stuff, and like if I was just viewing the channel as put money in, get money out, then yes. But as of right now, that's not necessarily the intention. It's easy to do that for channels that are not face, that are no face, or that sell things that generate lots of revenue. This channel does not generate lots of revenue, so the investment into thumbnail designers and video editors will be coming out of my pocket, and essentially giving back any of the revenue that it does make, and more potentially to pay for that. Now, yeah, could it grow? Sure. But as of right now, I prefer to have other things in place, and I focus on other things before I focus on that. So that's why I don't need it right now. But you never know. I make them in Photoshop. I have some templates set up, and like I know that you can do pretty good. People who do a good job. I used to have someone who would do it in the past, but as of right now, I just don't feel the need to do it. I don't have a necessary need for it. But yeah, today I had essentially the past 2 days that pissed me off. Tesla was yesterday. I had a Tesla trade yesterday that really, I was eyeing up the level that it then broke like really, really nicely. And then it just, I fumbled the early trade on it. So Tesla yesterday was essentially this level. I mean, like this was the high of the day. So it kind of like before it really went, it had these two kind of false breaks, and then it pulled in, still built a higher low, and then it went. So the problem here is that I had a stop loss like kind of tight, like right in there, so that stopped me out. I then got in on this, which then was able to make back the two losses, which then broke me even, which is fine. But then today I played NVIDIA. Here she is. I played NVIDIA today at had the idea, right? Essentially the same thing was this breakdown under the lows. Got in here. It was fine. It went my way. Didn't take profits here. It was like literally a couple cents shy, about 50 cents shy of my take profit, which then technically would have hit here. I then stopped out break even and then even got in and lost on this little freaking wick. It was bad. It was just, the thing is, the catalyst for me to make the bad decisions, I think, was the choppy nature, or it was, I don't even want to say that. It was like, it was kind of a weird environment. Like you had this massive move off of the open and then really just like not much since in terms of like snapback rally or continuation downside. Like it was just slow bleed for like 2-3 hours to get that, but it was a choppy way down. So it wasn't super clean. So it wasn't momentum based. And then you haven't really had a bounce back rally. So it's like, it hasn't been, it was kind of a recipe to get, kicked around, I think, for me, but on my strategy today. But I could have avoided it, but starting off September in the red. We'll see if they can turn that bad boy around. But again, I expect as the month progresses, things to pick up in terms of direction and in terms of momentum. But who knows? You never know. TSLL Benoit. No, Tesla's nuts if you think about that, right? If you just look at this chart of the past like couple of days, it's kind of wild. Like, it's done a lot, but like a whole lot of nothing. Right? Like you have this massive move down, massive move up, massive move back down, and then you're kind of backfilling it now. It's like, what? What's going on? ISM, yeah. I was checking in tomorrow. The thing with this is that tomorrow you've got a lot of Fed speakers in the morning through the afternoon. You've got Fed speakers coming through. So I'm curious how that's going to play out. We'll see, but I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't want to speculate. All I would say is that maybe you've got this window from like 9:30 a.m. until like around noon, and then that's like the window. And after that, Fed speakers just going to throw it off. I maybe just avoid it. But that's what I would say for tomorrow. And then Friday. You never know. The thing is, you have these days like weird, and then it's like all of a sudden a day or two hits and it's like massive, crazy directional moves, and it's like, whoa, like out of nowhere. You can't predict what day it's going to be, you never know. You never know. Next week's big CPI and then PPI. I don't know how big of a deal this is going to be. Let's just see if I can pull this up. What the expectations are going to be. So we got a 3.0 on CPI 2 months ago, then a 3.2, and now the 13th is they're expecting, or they haven't put the consensus out here. Trading Economics is forecasting 3.4%. Consensus has us at a blank for right now. Same thing here. It's not showing me any numbers on Market Watch. So I don't know what the numbers are expected to be on CPI and PPI. The SPY is down 0.7, QQQ is down 1, and then DIA is down 0.5. IWM is down 0.39. TOT is up today a little bit. Interesting. But down big the past like couple days. The dollar's been kind of sneakily inching back up. Oh yeah, silver and gold taking decent hits today. Here's the let's go to the daily charts on some of these guys. So silver, yeah, just look at silver's daily chart. Look how weird that is. Just like really choppy, which is kind of, I mean, it's good environment to sell covered calls, I guess, if it's just a choppy sideways environment. I was kind of getting worried, not worried, but I had the 33 strike on AGQ, which essentially if silver gets up towards here, I'll be getting taken out. But that's out to the 15th of this month. That's like, it's going to expire worthless most likely unless silver snaps back and goes crazy. Sold an ARC 46 for this week. Still got 2 more days to do it for it to get there, but it's got to go $2 more in the next 2 days. Could totally do it. But I sold that for this week. And then that was really it. Just a little bit of cash flow, slowly but surely. GNRC looks like it should be holding up pretty good. It's up today. I mean, it's kind of just grinding itself back up nice and super slow. Not surprised. Hurricanes, this is like their hurricane idea, hurricane stock that we're looking at. So, I mean, I sold a 110 by 105 put credit spread. So that expires in like 3 weeks from now, 4 weeks from now, something like that. So as long as it stays above 110 through the end of the month, we're good. There is a pretty substantial, I'm not sure if anyone's hearing about this one yet, pretty substantial potential hurricane. This is just like, it doesn't, like, you never know, but if you play this out over time, you've got like an absolute monster right here, just south of Bermuda and north of Puerto Rico. That's in like about a week. So it's still going to take time, but then it's currently projected to shoot up and pretty much just nip the edges of coastal Canada, barely miss like Cape Cod and stuff and go. This has been kind of interesting because it had been showing some previous runs of this just ramming into the Northeast. Hey, you know, it's hurricane season. These are very, very unlikely to hit land. I mean, like, when you start to curl and curve out, you know, chances are this thing is going to curve out to sea. Happens so much. The setup has to be like perfect for it to like hook it back like Sandy did. So who knows? A lot can change there. So just something I'll just be kind of watching. Not that it matters that much. The reason why we got in this, the GNRC play through September was simply because it's hurricane season. We haven't had a lot of hurricanes. Let's get some exposure to this. If it goes up or stays flat, we'll make money, and that's the deal. And so it's gone up a little bit, nothing crazy, but it's gone up like, I don't know, like 8% or so from when I bought it or when I entered the position. I don't really bought, I sold when I got into the position, and you know, so just let it do its thing. But if you were to look at like POLA, you know, was one of the other ideas. You know, it kind of, you know, if you caught the lows here, you had a snipe move up to like 150. You could have snagged, you know, 40, 50%, maybe, but it's so much riskier. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of it right now. Personally, though, I'll be looking at small caps in about a month or two. I'll be much more interested. That's the plan. What's going on? Million's in the house. The new camera. I'm not sure how this new camera setup is looking. Heard. Support for silver. Silver. Support levels down around 22.25 area, down towards like 22.15. Resistance up towards $25. That's the spots to watch. 25 to 25.25, if you will. But it's in the range right now. So you're just like banging around in this range on silver as we speak, which is fine. I mean, I don't really mind it too much. It's good for selling covered calls, and it's, you know, extra 20, 30, 40 bucks a month cash flow for me on that position that I have. So I'm happy with that. But it's been pretty good. And then we'll see what happens. If I end up getting stopped out, as in like silver comes down and like I get stopped out because it starts to break down below 20 bucks, I'll probably be red on the position, but maybe flat to slightly green overall because of all the covered calls I had sold over the past, like, I don't know how many months I've been in the position now. And then if let's say I get taken out on silver because it goes high, and I get taken out by an option expiring in the money and whatever, I let it go, that would be amazing because that would be an incredible return on it. But you never know. There's no way to know for sure. I'm going to leave it alone until it either tells me that it's headed to the downside and breaking 20 bucks, or, you know, it's breaking out to the upside. That's when I want to start to get thin or get light on the current holdings. However, though, you know, you look at the weekly charts. I mean, I don't know. You even go to a monthly chart, not to like get in all in up excited about this, but you know, you kind of have the makings of maybe of a bigger rally here. You know, if you can get on the bigger time frames, if you can get a break back, you know, north of, it's not perfect, but you're kind of on like the monthly chart. Look at this. I didn't really think about this. You're kind of just, you barely broke out of this downtrend on the monthly, and now you're kind of retesting. Like, it's just, as long as this thing can kind of hold up in here, like, this does look potentially good for a bigger move. But that's on the monthly chart. That's taking you back, way back. So who knows? But that's what I'll be looking at. I mean, that's like the big picture idea I have on it. Silver would have to drop below this. If it drops below this blue line, that's where I peace on silver because I will not be holding it below that. But if it can hold above it, hey, like we're honestly we're looking good in my view. Hold above 22 bucks. It's really good. There's no reason to sell it from now. Just keep rotating through covered calls on the position and on green days, and that's it. So I was looking at, I was talking about, what's that prop firm called now? Surge Trader. I was talking about Surge Trader as like an idea, right? So I started doing a little more research into Surge Trader, and the people who essentially have like founded Surge Trader are like the sketchiest, not sketchiest. They're like not great people. I imagine based off what's been kind of going on in the prop firm space right now, like there's some more eyes on these guys. I don't really know the whole details, but like essentially a prop firm got under fire for like essentially like not doing what they said they were doing, taking opposite positions of people and stuff. I don't know, like not doing sketchy stuff that like is not super surprising because the space is like blown up the past couple of years, but also it's like kind of funny at the same time. But then you look at people like this and they seem to be like not the best people. I forget all the details, but like there's a wife and a husband kind of deal going on, and this guy's gotten into some trouble over here. She's kind of trying to cover it up over here type stuff. Like it's kind of sketch. So does it make me feel great about paying them to open an account? No, but I know you got to look around and say like, what are your best options if you wanted to try one out? And for what I would trade, this seems to be the best option for me, which kind of sucks. But who knows if we'll see how things play out. They seem okay. It just, the people behind it, like I don't really love them, not the best of looks. You know what I mean? Makers of UST, yeah. Yeah, everyone. I mean, I don't know. You can only do so much in terms of like you research to know what you're getting into, A, and then B of like, I got to pick a place. If I wanted to use a prop firm, I got to pick one that fits the needs that I have, and if that's the best one, then not doing it because I love the people. It's because it's the best place for me. It's a pretty big move down on Apple, by the way. Did Apple fill the gap? I think it did. Almost. Pretty much filled the gap, most of the gap from the earnings move down. Backfilled that gap, and then today's like, what's going on with Apple? Is there any like actual news here, or is it just because Apple said to boost spending on controversial AI to millions of dollars a day? Oh, that's a lot. China prohibits government from using Apple's iPhones at work. Okay, are we that surprised like the China shit though? I don't really know. Is that like a big deal? I don't know how big of a deal that is. So I was thinking about trying some equity trading, more swing trading shares, like daily and weekly setups. No, that's I really like that idea too from a swing trade perspective. There's actually one Coinbase is one that I'm looking at right now that looks really good. I don't know if I'm gonna buy it because like I don't know, it's like not necessarily. I have exposure to ARK, which is gonna get me some of this. I have exposure to Bitcoin, which is also kind of enough, so I'm not gonna mess with it. But like Coinbase's chart, by the way, like big move up a couple weeks ago on nice volume. We love to see that. A couple days ago, I guess, on good volume after kind of seeing this big decline on pretty much lowering volume over the past couple of weeks throughout July and August. Then it comes in, has this massive move, and then it pulls back, and if it's trying to base right here, your entry point could be around the upper 70s with a stop loss below these lows right here, which is around 72. And then your take profit is for a 2-to-1 risk reward, looking at like 93 for a take profit, and then maybe looking for more from there. So it's a decent idea. But like even a swing trade like that, or like, I don't know, there was a firm a couple of days ago or a couple weeks ago that I was looking at before I left. I was like, oh shit, this is looking good. And it ended up being so far so good. You had this breakout right here above $20. Now you've made $2 in your direction. Of course, it could back test and pull back, but there's good volatility on just shares. So not a terrible look, in my opinion, on swinging shares on some of these things with stops. Less noise in the yeah. And then what you think about for those though is that the times to do it are like right after earnings, kind of like, so earnings season hits a couple weeks after earnings season is when you want to start like looking for that stuff, because you'll get, you've got a runway of a couple months until the next earnings. So you don't have to worry about holding overnight into earnings. So then your swing trade is kind of good. Like you can just be, obviously any news can come at any day, but you at least are minimizing the earnings risk of that piece of news dropping you down, that, holding on to something overnight. So that's what I would do. But I think there's plenty of money to be made now that I have kind of been through the option world as well and seen kind of the sides. Like plenty of money to be made on shares, and you don't have to be sitting here thinking that like you need to make 1,000% on your option trade for you to maybe be making money. You could have played, I don't know, look at like Amazon or something. Like you could buy Amazon stock maybe, or maybe not, short it, long it, and go get 5-10% over the course of like a 2-month span, which maybe less, if you're playing momentum. And cool, like stack that up, let's say your stop loss is 2.5%, 3%, and your take profits at 5 or 10, cool, like do that and, be right half the time. And, you got a strategy right there. You know what I mean? Instead of having to, get chopped up all the time on the shorter time frames and stuff, let the volume speak to you, let the chart speak to you, and just, play it off that. It's good stuff. I mean, I think that's cleaner to look at. Obviously you have overnight risk, sure, but and the other thing too, like deposit $5,000, right? Like even if you're thinking that route, then the chat is on this screen and then the camera's here. So if I'm looking in different directions, I'm getting used to the camera, but being in this spot now. But if you were to do it that way, like let's say I was to go the prop firm route, say I go to Surge Trader, the plan is not to use the prop firm forever. So you go there, you get access to some money, you make some money. If you can make some money, great. You take a couple payouts, you get a few payouts, and then you can now say, okay, now I've got X number of dollars. Let's open a new account. Boom. Do the same thing on my own account with all my money, no profit splits, no restrictions, nothing. So that would be the plan. But I think once you get up into like, from swing trading shares, I think once you get up to like a couple $1,000s, it starts to become a little more meaningful. Obviously, if you wanted to day trade like Amazon and Apple and stuff, a couple $1,000s is not going to really do much. Like you're not going to be talking about huge P&L swings. It's a good start though, but you probably got to be looking into like the tens of thousands of dollars if you want to be day trading for like a 0.5% move on some of these stocks. Probably, which is where maybe like the prop firm would make sense if you don't have tens of thousands of dollars or at least that buying power to play off of. And you wanted to play just shares, not options. But from a swing trade perspective, a couple $1,000s is probably plenty to at least get your feet wet into it, try things, and then at least you'll see like if you on $1,000, 10% is $100. It's not a ton of money, but it's $100. $100. Doesn't do as much now as it did maybe a couple years ago, but at least it's okay. It's not like it's $5, Pepsi. Let's see. I haven't looked at Pepsi. That does not look great. Yeah, she's broken down below that level. The only concern about Pepsi's chart, though, like from a bigger picture perspective, is this. Like it might not look great right now, but Pepsi is probably a stock that maybe is more of a dividend stock and a buy the dip stock than play the momentum to the downside, I would say. Anything can happen, but that's just based off this choppiness of a trend up of price action. Like I would be more inclined to buy this than try to short this. 120%, 10% risk, and several 2%. Yeah, there's a lot. There's a good point behind that. I agree too with even with day trades. You recognize like as time goes on, like today was a good example of just like me being an idiot, but I think about it like I've been thinking about it and I'm like, I need to be better at like really being selective on what I'm looking at. Like today, in a nutshell, like wasn't a day to trade. You could, and you could trade any day, but probably was not a good day to trade. You know, just from what I was looking for. Look through my large cap list, right? Here's the daily charts. Just go through my list of large cap sell trade. So Google, yeah, like as of late, it's been strong. Cool, that's good. If it's going to the north, then maybe that's a long, but it was not. It's been trending down. So, okay, no. Amazon, you're in the middle of nowhere. You're not near these recent highs, 140s, and then you're not at these lows of 130s. So it's like you're in the middle of nowhere, like no man's land, nothing there. Personally, I'm not. Facebook, this is where I did try this, and I got chopped in it. I jumped the gun, just not chopped. I just straight up jumped the gun. I just got in before I should have gotten in. The trade technically didn't trigger, and I lost. But over $300, I'm looking for longs, and below that, it needs to come down to like the 270s for shorts. To be honest, if I was looking for shorts, AMD kind of the same thing. It's just like in this trending chop. Yeah, it's towards the upper end of it, but it's still tough. I mean, over 112, I think starts to get more interesting for the upside on AMD, but like it's not there. So it's like, okay. And then downside, no, don't touch that downside. NVIDIA, same thing. It's kind of like I wouldn't really want to trade downside until it falls below 450. And then upside, I want to be up around 500. So I traded that, but like I also knew while trading it, like, yeah, like I know I'm kind of asking for trouble here because we're not in a good bigger picture chart setup. So that's on me. And that's why it's a good reason as to why these trades today were not as probable. Microsoft, I don't know. I'd want to see it up over 335 at least, but maybe tomorrow. Apple was a big downsider, but also same thing, like nothing here. Like, am I going to short Apple right here? Like, where are we? We are not down here, and we're not up here. We're right in the middle of the recent range. That's not going to give me a probable setup for momentum, Tesla, kind of the same thing, right? Now, Tesla's actually looking, if Tesla gets going, 260 to the upside, boom, this could be good, this week if we go up. I'll watch that closely. But if not, then I don't really want to touch Tesla because I don't really want to play it in the middle of this recent range as well, right? So that's just kind of how I was working, how I'm like looking at things now after the fact. Like, okay, here's my thoughts about what's going on. So it's kind of boring, as in like on the bigger time frames, bigger charts, we're not doing much. So like if you were in a position on a larger term time frame, like this is one of those, these are like a couple of these days where you're just kind of like checking in, nothing's happening. All right, go do something else. Like that's literally, you know what I mean? That's what you'd be doing. There's nothing to do. So, and, but as I kind of gather more data, right, and trade through the bad environments, the good environments for my strategy, I will be building up this data to kind of go off of and say, okay, well, now that I've got this data, I know that when I see this, my probabilities are in my favor. When I see this, probabilities are not in my favor. So then it just becomes a game of eliminating those times when they're not in my favor, based off of XYZ criteria that the data tells me. Didn't trade today. Been liking the overnight session on futures past few days. Well, that's kind of good. The only thing that I ran into problems with setting a trade and then putting a stop on, take profit, and go to bed, is I would find that I would be waking up checking in, which is not ideal mentally for me. If you're not like that though, then nothing wrong with it. But it was messing my sleep up. So yeah, but we're getting closer and closer to what I hope to be able to start adding substantially larger amounts of money to my portfolio, or not substantially, just starting to add a little bit more to the portfolio, maybe into like next year, and then potentially larger amounts in the coming years. But we've paid off the private loans, so I have no more private loans. But now federal loans, first payment is like due in a month. So that's going to begin in a month. But I'm paying more than the minimum payment, but ideally I'm paying a lot more than I'll be paying that thing down as fast as possible. So pay the minimum, pay it off for 10 years, 15 years, whatever the time frame is. Pay more than that and then pay it off much faster. And then of course, you never know. Like I said too, hey, if the market rips face and SPY goes to freaking 500 plus, very quickly, I don't know. Like if we break out to all-time highs quickly and aggressively, I'm probably going to be in the camp of like, probably just get rid of or at least trim some portfolio out and pay debts, accelerate those payments, and then, because it comes down to opportunity costs and what you think. Portfolio wise, like technically speaking, the portfolio is a better play, but if we really, really rallied hard, I would be considering that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Flat month. You know what? August though, and if honestly, I look at it now and say, going back to optimize a life going forward, if you were able to, and you were someone who traded the markets as like that's your main income, or whatever, the month of August is a pretty good month to take off and go on a trip, visit family, I don't know, do other stuff. Really, now that you think about it, and it makes sense, like why we saw what we saw, and then come back after Labor Day and start to get back into the rhythm. But yeah, in the perfect world, that's my plan. At some point, maybe in 10, 15 years, we'll have a standing month of break where we use that time to visit family and take a trip or two that we've been wanting to do every August, something like that. Better than my month, though. Even a flat month or $2 month, hey, better than mine. August. I did come back a little. I came back decently towards the end of it, but I started off like pretty bad, really not pretty bad, really, really bad to start the month off in the beginning of August, and then just couldn't recover from that. Despite there was some good and bad. There was some really bad stuff even after the initial first week or two that I did, but was able to kind of like slowly grind back. Still couldn't recover enough. It's all good though. 10, 15 years, 100K or more. Hopefully more than 100K in Jeppy. Paying a couple thousand a year. Maybe not. Maybe 100K in Jeppy, 100K in some other ETFs and stuff. Happy with the process though, getting better and handling losses. Well, that's the biggest thing is like the way we handle. I think like it's easy to look at SPY, by the way, here. It's easy to go back in hindsight and be like, yeah, like, I should have done this, should have done that. But seeing what you do, like the triggers that lead up. There was a book I read. I don't know if I have it here. Let's see. Yeah, it's called The Mental Game of Trading. Yeah, it's behind me. And it's kind of all about like the mental game, but it's all about like the mental side and more so understanding the triggers and the things that lead up to the mistakes. So for example, today I actually got pretty close to a max loss day. Should not have. The recap video will be out in like an hour or like in 20 minutes, whatever, after the stream. But it was a max loss day. That was a fair max loss day, like in the sense from a mental side. Like there was nothing mentally that I was not feeling perfect, but I was not like, I couldn't go back and say, oh, like today, I had this, and this happen, so I got to be careful. Like there was nothing like that I could say, triggered. It was more of like, I wasn't feeling like, like super awesome about the setups in the market, but like it was just another day. It wasn't like today's the day or today sucks or, I'm pissed about this, I don't know what it was. Just kind of like a weird day. But, you learn those things. And so in the future, whenever I have the next day of like something bad happens or there's shit I got going on behind the scenes, like I'm just not going to, trade ideally. So it's understanding things like that and then, being able to build off of that for the future. But yeah, August was August. And it doesn't mean for some people it was probably good. I'm sure I'll have months that are going to be great for me and terrible for someone else, just how it is. For everyone's strategy is different. Everyone has different ways of managing the risk, playing the strategy into. Optimize support for higher gains in the market with lower downside risks. I like that. And the thing is, like, once you have that kind of ironed out and working really nice, and you've got now like a lot of data of months to years, and then you can watch how it performs in trending markets versus or uptrending versus downtrending, bears and bulls. Once you kind of have that data, you're going to be looking and feeling a lot more confident about it, and then really able to kind of optimize it from there, little by little tweaks, that you can optimize from there to get that thing really ripping. But that's good. Let's check in on the Robinhood account today. The old Robinhood is down $77 to $10,700. So actually, if you go back to last week, it did pop up to 11.3. Past month, is that the highs? Yeah, hit 11.3, 11.3s. So it's like $600 off of the highs or so, which is not bad. Silver bonds kind of reversed from where they were, which is probably a big part of that. But nothing crazy, so just doing its thing for now. Still got this GNRC or GNRC. Still got these credit spreads are still worth 90 cents. So that's another almost $200. If this expires worthless, that'll be coming into that'll be, I guess, displayed via the P&L or via my account balance. So that's cool if it ends up working out. No guarantees. Tesla, I got these two credit spreads. As long as Tesla stays over 230 by the 15th, which is next Friday, it's not much time to drop $20, right? Where's Tesla at? Tesla's got to drop, $20 plus, $22 for me to even be close to losing on it. It could, but we'll see. It has to drop. Tesla would have to drop back to like here in 2 weeks. It could, but if we get if this thing goes like this, if it breaks out in the coming days, I mean that'll pretty much solidify those contracts to zero, which will be an extra 21 cents or 22 cents times 2, so $45 roughly. So there's like about $250 of premium to kind of like bleed out of these spreads that'll then be displayed here. So that puts you maybe closer to 11K if those expire worthless. Also, it sucks up some buying power because of spreads. Sucks up a decent amount of buying power. But yeah, and then that's really that. And then we'll look at something else. I mean, I'm not going to do too much of that stuff. Only when I really see something that I, really like, I'll look at a credit spread, and that's that. That's the way I'll play any options. It's just going to be selling premiums. I don't really think I'm going to be very interested in trying to be directional be directional by a given time with options. It's mostly going to be selling premiums. But yeah, I was thinking, there's not much to do elsewhere here. Waiting for something to happen, and then we can make a move. Really, every other position we have is nothing. There's nothing to do. The bonds are bonds. Like maybe I can even add to those if I really, really wanted to, but I'm probably not going to, just because I'm already got enough exposure to bonds. So I'm just going to leave them alone. We got our dividends coming up here, right? So TOTW dividend is going to be on Monday. They're paying 33 cents. That's better than the last one. So they're paying 33 cents a share on Monday. So TOTW, I got 50 shares of this bad boy. Does it have the upcoming? No. I don't know. Do the math on that. Well, I guess I could do the math right now. 33 cents a share times 50 shares or so. $16 still to get reinvested back in. So it's going to reinvest not a lot of money, but it's going to reinvest $16 to bring my average cost down a little bit. Not that really matters. So there's that. We got, what's Jeppy's dividend? Jeppy, I've got 118, almost 119 shares, 118.9. Jeppy, that dividend is going to pay out on Thursday. That's tomorrow. Let's go. Another 33 cents a share there, almost 34 cents a share there, which is better than last month. So that's like 40, almost 30, $40. It's almost going to buy another share of Jeppy. So I'll probably be up to about like almost 120 shares there, and plus my reinvestment, which did that buy already? My monthly, I think the monthly investment bought already. Yeah, the dividend is the dividend's $40, $39.75. That's the dividend. The monthly reinvestment has already happened on the first of the month, so that's already done. So yeah, we'll be pretty close to 120 shares there, which is pretty good. It's getting up there. Nice dividend payouts, right? What else do we have that pays a dividend? BITO. What is the BITO? Is BITO pays monthly, right? BITO pays on Monday, and they're paying nothing. 0.0005 or whatever, 0.005. If that's accurate, no, that's pretty. It's a shame. But yeah, so we got some dividends coming in, so some reinvestments occurring. And yeah, there's no reason to do anything. That's what I'm saying. Strategy-based funds, layer in bonds, income metals, options, a hedge downside, and then gain more. Yo, that's what I like. That's good stuff. That's like it's a very similar view of kind of like just in different ways, but like kind of a similarity to my like long-term investing perspective now as well. Yeah, I have to say the same thing, and I even wrote that down yesterday. I wrote like a September goals, which I try to do at the beginning of every month and review the goals I had for last month, and I try to make them simple. I had like 4 core areas. Right, there's work, so that could be YouTube, other things that I'm doing marketing wise, Amazon wise, other work. So there's a whole core section there. It could be a couple things in there, bullet points for different things. So YouTube, maybe I have a goal for this or that or this. So there's a goal there, and then I have fitness, some sort of goal there, and then I'll have trading as a goal, and then I'll have miscellaneous. So I have like those 4 categories. Trading goal, I think, was to take 0 setups outside of my system. Already broke that today. So already starting off on a great foot. But I don't know what it was. I wish I could tell you what it was. I have no idea what it was. Like, I'm trying to unpack that today, and maybe it'll come to me on a walk, and I'll just recognize, oh my God, it was this. Boom. Next time when I recognize this, I'll make sure I don't do this. I don't know. But I think last month I took like 16 trades not to system, not to my strategy. That 16 trades over the course of a month that did not fit my strategy. So realistically, if I can keep it inside of 10, if I can hold back on the urge and keep it inside of 10, that's an improvement. Ideally, you want it to be 0. But if I can get it inside of 10 for this month, that would be cool. That would be good. Like, just thinking realistically. So. Collecting the rent. TJ Babushka. I love it. Look at the market. Looks like it tanked 10 a.m. NVIDIA down. Yeah, it was a day of like, the initial move was like the move for most stocks, and then it just kind of didn't really do much and kind of grinded back and like big on individual stocks, Tesla and NVIDIA, big moves off the open, and then it just bounced back. Travels this weekend, they were good. Back in action here. We were back home. I got back on Monday night. Yesterday was a day of like, holy shit, just cleaning up, getting shit ready. You know, just a lot of. I had a large list of things to do that I then looked back and I'm like, this all has like nothing to do with like anything work related that I need to do or that I want to do to actually make money, but they had to be done in the background, and it was like a day of like. I woke up at, well, I slept a little bit in because I didn't really sleep very well this whole weekend trip. I was sleeping on average like 6 hours a night, which is not terrible, but it's not optimal. If it was 7+, I wouldn't really be that bad. But I went to bed at like 10, got up at 7. Is that accurate? No, I went to bed at like 10:30, 11 o'clock, I think. But I went to bed on Monday night, got up at 7. So it was like probably close to 8 hours-ish, which I needed bad. Went for a run for 30 minutes, so light, but also we're almost, the knee is feeling good, but like I'm not trying to push it too hard. Don't want to like re-injure it. Then walk the dog, do all these different things, and then all of a sudden it was like 9:30 in the morning, and I had other stuff to do, and then next thing I know, like the day's over, I got to get food, go grocery shopping, get gas. Next thing I know, it's 8 o'clock. I'm like, holy fuck, sun's setting, it's 8 o'clock. Like, and I didn't even do this, and this. So it was a fully packed day. Then by the time I finished everything that I had to do, it was 10 and I was in bed. That was the day yesterday. So today was a better day for like doing actually work related things. And then I've got fantasy draft tonight. Wait till the last day. And then we've got meetings this Thursday, Friday, and then I have other stuff that I have to do. So it's just, it's a packed week, but it was good. Game was good. We won obviously, but yeah, team looked okay. It didn't look amazing. Looked pretty good. So we'll see how, it's first game of the year. What do you expect? Stadium was epic. I mean, I'll see if I can pull up a picture. I definitely can pull up a picture. Let me see if I can airdrop it really quick to myself. There was a pretty sick shot. If I can get the, yeah. This is essentially how we're looking here. Here, I'll pull it up. We're airdropping it in. Here's the shot. So we were up in like this is like a wide angle view, so it's not like, I don't know, not, if it looks weird, it's because it's wide angle. But we're up in this like section. There's like 15 rows still behind us, so you could go further back. But essentially, like where this opening right here in the top left is the student section where they were like still filling in. We're like essentially sitting like there, just on the other side. Not upper decks. These are fine. Like these are fine here, but like you are really high up there. It's kind of a bitch to watch the game from that perspective. So we had a pretty good view. I thought we're like on like the 10, 15 yard line. So you can see a decent amount, and beautiful sunset. It was like 80 degrees. Like you literally couldn't have had a better night for a game. So that was sick, but it was a good game. Jep Q 45 cents a share, got 41 bucks going in. Nice. Russell had a bad day. Yeah, let's see. The Russell's been weird. Let's go to the daily chart on the Russell. It's been weird the past couple of days. But this, again, same thing for me, right? Thinking about the Russell. Like, get down to here and I'd be interested in shorts for momentum. And then get up to here and I'd be interested for longs for momentum. But like in here is like a big no-no, in my opinion. So. No, I really think the sleep thing, like there's a, is it called 8 Sleep? I forget, whatever, like there's a company out there that has like a mattress cover or pad or like mattress you can buy as well that also doubles as like a sleep tracker. So like it will optimize your sleep based off temperature, and then it will also like track your sleep. I mean, like stuff like that, they're expensive, but like stuff like that, like there's, I think, some good value behind those things. So, I mean, and also like for me now, like I legitimately do not care what time I go to bed. I need to get 8 hours. Like even if I go to bed at 1 a.m., like I'm thinking like, yeah, I would like to get up at 6 the next day, but is that a good idea? That's 5 hours of sleep. If I have no choice, yes. But if I do have a choice and I could push it back, I'm going to try to push it back because like I don't want to feel like shit, And there's a lot of stuff that you look at too, like studies and data of what one bad night of sleep does, just one, to other markers, health markers and other things about how your body processes like glucose and carbohydrates. Like it's crazy. It happens in just one day. Yeah, the high Sirius. Yeah, the weather was beautiful too. I mean, it was all day sunny. So got a little, I wouldn't say I got sunburned, but in the sun all day and then hanging out I was super dehydrated. I'll tell you that. I was very dehydrated. I was drinking a lot of water, but was still dehydrated. Penn State closer to Pitt or Philly? It's honestly very similar. But I flew into Harrisburg, which is like probably like an hour and a half, 2 hours away. No, an hour and a half probably from Penn State. Maybe more, maybe 2 hours from Penn State. But you can go either one. I think. I don't know. I don't have experience ever flying to Pittsburgh. Never been. I've only gone Philly because I have more like connections and friends in that area anyway. And also like I've lived on the East Coast. So I've never had to go to Pittsburgh. But yeah, it's like about the same. So Penn State's like literally the direct middle. Like State College is like the middle of Pennsylvania. So you could pick either one. But yeah, my friend lives kind of between Harrisburg and Penn State. So, which is like kind of between Philly and Penn State. So like pretty much flying into Harrisburg, which is like there, and then to his place, which is nice. And that was what we did. So with that said, I'm going to wrap things up for today. New live setup. It worked. We've been streaming for like, how long has it been? Almost an hour. And the new camera, no problem. So we're not overheating. We're good. Everything seems to be good. And cool. So we'll be back on Friday. Next week's a big week with CPI and PPI, but back on Friday, we'll see what happens and hopefully we get some better action. But either way, the biggest watch I'd have on my list going forward is probably going to be Tesla. It just, it's much closer to these highs and it's, than these relative lows down here. So if it can break over this 261, this looks like it could be a good trade to the upside. We'll see if we can get it. If so, cool. If not, then we wait for something that looks good. So I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Have a great rest.